What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be reworking on the ice cream van. This thing needs a cleaning. Before we put this thing back in the dash, we're going to be using a drill with these small buffing pads. This kit actually comes with some square sandpapers, I guess kind of square, with some water. I'm going to just sand it down very well. This is how it looks after the 3000 grit sandpaper. Now we get to start buffing the plastic cover. You guys can see here, this is just one pass with the buffer.
I can't tell. You better keep working on it.
I'd say it's already looking 1,000 times better. You can actually see your cluster. All right, so I'm gonna do this exact same thing that I did one more time, and then after I do it a second time, I'm probably gonna do some hand wax in there. I'll wax it by hand and clean it off, and then we should be good to go after I fix that, of course. So now that I have both sides clean, I'm gonna clean the inside of this. Well, that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna place this here. Just like that, you have a restored cluster. The next step is gonna be putting our voltmeter / USB charger right in our location right here, in our spare location. So I'm gonna be doing that just like this. We wanna replace the backing lights with LEDs, so we're waiting on those to show up, and so I can't put that on yet. I did finish installing the screen, and the radio is completely attached, it's bolted on, all the wiring is done for that. Here's the switch that I said I was going to install for the 8-panel switch, which you guys see it is working. And as you guys can see the red light, when I press the switch off, boom, it turns off. And now we are able to run it with no key. All right, so now that the inside of the van, the wiring is done for the speakers, I moved on to this rear side of the van. And the dome latch is the same as the other two. And we are gonna place it right about here. And I just gotta figure out some wiring. We have the switch, the pressure switch that's coming, that's gonna be probably gonna install right here. So when the side of the door opens and releases it, it sends the power to the dome light. So I'm gonna be taking these screws off. I'm gonna follow down the headliner, and I'm gonna see the type of space that I have to mount this before I start drilling holes and stuff. All right, so the mail showed up. We have the pressure sensors. We're gonna put that on right now. The idea is to make a small hole that this will fit through it, right? And then you will put the screw there, which creates the ground, like I said, but obviously it's gonna be like this. And then when the door closes, puts pressure on it, opens the circuit, boom, closes it. Switch is there, it's open, and that's turned on, right? You press the switch, and I'm gonna be doing this. The switch itself is actually working. Now, I'm gonna be closing this, and hopefully that turns off. Rip. All right, so one thing that I noticed is that when this is being closed, it's hitting, but at the same time, it's too long for it to close the door all the way regardless. So I'm gonna take one layer off, and hopefully that makes it small enough. And if I mess it up, I have another one here. So that's what those things are for. In case it's too long, you just take one layer off. There you go. Perfect.
What happened, dude?
we found another box of stuff that we forgot that was coming in here.
But it's super cool stuff.
Which we cannot leave it out the van. It has to go in there, and I want it in there, and everything that I just did has to come right back apart, but I don't care because it's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, so it's basically, we're making this like a 2020 G20.
Let's go with 2025. This thing is gonna be so ahead of its time.
So Heist Lighting actually sent us this badass universal full screen mirror. So if you guys have been in like the new GM pickup trucks, you've seen these already. I know TJ's truck has it. It does function as a mirror in his GM, but it also is a full-time screen that uses a camera on the back of the vehicle, and so you're literally watching a TV screen where your mirror used to be. We've also got backup sensors that are going to get mounted in the rear bumper. Those are also from I-Beam. So I said Heist products, I was wrong. This is actually one of their brands called I-Beam.
With this diagram, it shows A, B, C, and D, which is the rear sensors, which is like these ones right here, right?
Yep, A, B, C, and D, yep. I'm gonna go ahead and help Ricky get all this stuff mounted up so we can start running some wires. Alright, well, as you can see, the parking sensors are mounted. Went ahead and routed them into the inside over here to our battery area, and we're going to go ahead and now just get everything loomed together. So we're going to go ahead and use some of this Tech Flex, get them all wrapped together, and Ricky's handling the wiring up front. Should be able to knock this out pretty quick. We've got Matt from Auto Glass Masters down here. If you guys watch our channel, you know that we use Auto Glass Masters almost specifically for all of our glass needs. They come down and take windshields out, put windshields in. Today we've got something a little different for Matt. So you guys know we're installing this sweet I-Beam rear view mirror that has front facing camera and rear facing camera. But in order to get it in our van, we actually had to call Matt down because he is the wizard of sticking these back onto glass. So Matt brought some special serums that he uses to mount these, because if you've ever tried to mount one of these before, I've done it, they always fall off. Visors. As you can see, these things are massive, and apparently in the 80s they didn't have a hook to fasten them to, so these things just kind of float around. But we want to make sure that the driver's one is functional, so we're going to move the mirror as far to the right as possible so that this one functions without any real issue. Oh, you really have to hold it?
Yeah, only for like 5 hours.
You're gonna be here for the whole rest of the day?
Yeah.
Should I order lunch?
Sure.
All right.
5 hours later.
And one of the things that we needed to do was be able to pass a extension cord or a plug through the van in some fashion. And I'm gonna show you guys what I ordered here. This is called a MIC tuning. I picked it because of the name. Watertight, basically pass through. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill a 2-inch hole in the side of the van. And essentially what this is, allows us to plug in an extension cord, and then it passes through to the inside of the van with a female, so that we can plug our battery charger or any other device that we have in the van that needs power from the inside to the outside without trying to go through a door jamb or something like that. And right now we're running an extension cord, as you can see here on our floor, from our wall down here to the floor under the van. And it comes in here and plugs into our battery charger. So now what I'm gonna do is actually put that over here out of the way, and it'll pop out on the side of the van over here somewhere in this vicinity. All right, well, there's the mounted unit right there, all nice and straight and down and out of the way, so it's not an eyesore to the side of the van. And it's actually exactly what we need to pass power from the outside to the inside of this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, make sure she's working. Bang. There we go. So we've got some Peak Optics wiper blades in stock here at the shop, and these happen to be the 16-inch variety that we need for the van. So we're gonna grab a couple of those bad boys. I'm gonna go ahead and give them over to Big Jeff so that he can get them fitted up to our nice, shiny new wiper arms. Hold it. Up there. So, karate chop? I didn't know you knew karate, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, Ricky and I noticed a few comments in the last video's comment section, actually 2 videos ago, about how rattly and obnoxious this van's gonna be with the plans for the sound system that we have. If you guys don't think we're not sound deadening this van, you're crazy. We obviously are working with Metra. They have a product called Ballistic Mat, and this is their bulk kit. So basically it's just a bunch of bulk sheets of sound deadening material. I went ahead and I already put up 1 panel. We've already done the whole floor of this van, which is overkill. We've put some along the dash. We're gonna be putting it basically anywhere there can be rattles. So Big Jeff's actually gone ahead and he's gotten started back here, and he's gonna get pretty much every panel sound deadened, including these over here. Okay. So you can hear the sound deadening is already working. All right, well, as you guys can see, the walls are in and complete, and they're looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. Now the next thing to do is to get them down and actually put some material on them. But before I get any further on these walls, Ricky's gonna go ahead and get started on our speaker enclosure.
Oh, wait, what is this? Yep, kicker stuff came in. I am super excited now. So the plans that we had are actually gonna come reality. Thank you to Mickey and Kicker. So we got 3 Solar Barracks squares, the L7S10s. We have an amp kit. We have the second Kicker KX series amplifier, because we already have the 4-channel. This is the monoblock, 1600 by 1. And then we have 2 component system. And these things are killer. This is the KS series component system, and this thing is gonna sound insane. So as you guys know, the plan is coming. We have the 2 more sets of KS series 1-inch tweeters coming. Let's just stop talking and get to work. I'm actually super excited. I'm gonna start taking some measurements from the top of the van, where the subwoofer is gonna be, and I'm gonna start working on the sub. Alright, so it took all day, all night, because it's dark outside. Everybody went home hours and hours and hours ago.
Except for us.
Hey! We ended up getting the subwoofer box finished, and we ended up going with a kind of like a not really funky design, because this is used a lot in vehicles just to create more airspace, which is what we had to do in this case because of the way the top shape is.
Because of this shape right here.
All right, so the plan for this is we're gonna mount all 3 Solar Barracks S7 subwoofers in a line.
So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, sir. What's up? Welcome back. All right, it is the next morning, and we are going to continue to work on this. Right now, the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start making the holes for the subwoofers. All right, so now that we have all 3 of them, with templates, and they're each exactly one each apart from each other. We take this off, we should have the markings under it. So there you have it. And then with the saw, we're just gonna saw all the way to the edge. From there, we'll seal each corner with the window seal. We have all 3 holes made. They're equally spaced apart here. I think I'm gonna seal it next. Alright, so now that all 3 holes are made for the 3 speakers, have you guys noticed inside there are 3 dividers for each speaker, and that's to help out with the bass on the box because it's so small. And the next step is gonna be I'm gonna wire both amps that you guys see mounted here. And while I'm doing this, I'm gonna send you guys to Mickey so you can see what he's doing with the walls.
Well, as you guys saw, I've been gluing my life away over here and putting the pink foam onto our Luan boards that we made to cover the walls inside the van. And then we're putting a gray vinyl over top of that for a nice padded feature on the wall. And as you guys can see, it's really starting to come together in here. Looking pretty professional, at least from the roof line down. Right now, I'm gonna be working on our Heist lighting RGB LED accent lights, are basically color changing pod lights. They're gonna go underneath the van. We're also gonna have some inside. And as you guys know, Ricky already installed the component in the back of the van, this light controller here that we're gonna hook up to, but I gotta hang them all first, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. While Ricky is in here doing wiring things, Ricky things, I'm gonna be out in the shop actually doing stuff with our subwoofer enclosure because it needs to have the face covered in some material. So I've already spray glued our vinyl, spray glued our face, and we're gonna go ahead and apply this gray vinyl to the front of our enclosure. Well, it's about time to start putting these subwoofers in. Ricky went ahead and grabbed the first solo barrack. This is an LS7, I think it's called, Ricky?
L7.
L7, LS7. Isn't that a motor? I think that's a motor, right? Anyway, this is a bad boy. This thing weighs a ton, holy cow. So this is the original square subwoofer. If you guys have ever seen square subwoofers, they are originated with Stillwater Designs, which is Kicker. He is using some 8-gauge wire to wire these up because he likes overkill.
All day, baby.
And so what's the trick to wiring this up, Ricky? So what are you doing here?
We are gonna go from 4 ohms to 2 ohms. So we are gonna go from one positive coil to another positive coil, and then from here it's gonna reach to the next subwoofer, and so on and so forth.
Sounds really difficult, so I'm gonna let Ricky handle this one. Did the first test on the audio and it sounds epic. It sounds so sick coming from an ice cream van. It's not what you would expect or anticipate, and I'm super pumped about the sound deadening from Metro that we put in here. There's not a single rattle outside the van,
and we only have two speakers in the front and two tweeters.
We have a set of kicker 4x7s and a set of 1-inch tweeters. So we got to build our two little boxes for the rear. That's going to house a pair of 6.5s and 4 tweeters.
Correct.
So this thing gonna make your ears bleed.
2 pairs of 6.5 and 2 pairs of tweeters.
Okay. All right, well, it's the next day. Last night turned into a really late night. Ricky and I were here super late trying to get the subwoofer enclosure buttoned up so that we could start it up and hear it. We did get the trim panel done. It is almost complete. I just have to put 2 more fasteners in it to get it really snug up against the speaker enclosure. A couple of the things that need to be highlighted that we got done were the undercarriage lighting. These are from Heist Lighting, which are available through Metra. And these are color changing, so they basically just sweep through all the different colors of the rainbow. This is very reminiscent of the late 90s, early 2000s street glow neon tubes that go underneath. Well, these are LED lights, and it's fully programmable with an app from Heist. So we can make it match the music, we can change it to whatever color we want at any point in time. We finally buttoned up the rear view mirror, which is a really nice upgrade for this van. One of the really cool things about this I-beam rearview mirror is when you see it with the vehicle off, it just looks like a standard rearview mirror, and in most applications it can be used as a standard rearview mirror. But the real beauty about this is the rear camera that actually pops up once you turn the vehicle on. One of the cool things about this is you don't have to go to the van to actually adjust the rear view camera. You can actually just scroll your finger up and down and it's going to show you higher or lower. It has a 170-degree lens on it, so it's got a really wide view so that you can see the whole road behind you. This thing actually has a forward-facing camera, so you can either do split screen rear and front, or you can swipe this way and look just at the front. Here we can see TJ's beautiful RX-7. So we've got a nice camera in the front, we've got a nice camera in the back, and it's also adjustable for the front as well. This thing has memory. You put a memory card in it, and if the vehicle senses a motion, it will record, and that way if your vehicle gets hit when you're not around and it's parked, you have a record of that, which is pretty cool. So on the rear of the van, you guys saw us install the parking sensors. We put the meter up here, and as you can see, our garage door is really close to the right side of the van. It's 0 feet away, and as you can see in the rearview mirror, that is the case. So this thing actually beeps when you're in reverse and lets you know if you're getting close to something behind us. And the elephant in the room is this blank piece of wood here. I started wrapping the walls with the foam and the gray vinyl. Unfortunately, we did not get enough vinyl, so I wasn't able to move on to this panel. It's a bummer not to get to see it complete, but you guys get the idea back here of how it's gonna look. So moving on to the audio system, you guys watch us build the enclosure for the 3 kicker L7 square 10-inch subwoofers. Those have ended up here over my head. But in order to manage those, we've got 2 kicker amps. We've got a 1600 watt amp and we've got a 4-channel amp. Now controlling all that sound is the head unit, and I think we've introduced this already on the channel. It's the Pioneer 10.1 inch with Apple CarPlay. This unit is amazing, and it really makes this 88 Chevy van feel more modern, like a Tesla or something that has a full screen, a BMW. And what's cool is the CarPlay. So basically this thing is going to mimic whatever is on my cell phone. So I can access all of my apps, all of my maps, and everything right here, and it's on a big enough screen that the driver doesn't have to take a long look away from the road to actually see his map or what's going on with the music or whatever. So you can also make hands-free calls with the microphone that we mounted here. So let's go ahead and let's listen to what we have. So far, I will note that so far we only have 4x7s and tweeters hooked up as far as highs and mids. All right, so a little bit of royalty-free music. Unfortunately, you guys won't know this track probably. So the highs are really crisp, and the bass is super deep, which you guys aren't going to be able to tell probably through your headphones or computer speakers, but the 310s are really working. The 1600 watts is plenty. Ricky pulled some magic and wired these down to 2 ohm. and I went ahead and built this cool beauty board that is in suede with gray vinyl behind to match the walls. Now, as I mentioned, this is not done yet. I still have to put an L bracket on here. I think the square look from Kicker is a really cool look. I'm glad we went with these. It allows us to get them in a nice compact area. I'm really proud of this. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. And as you can see, the freezer is finally in the van. This is gonna be somewhat close to its final resting location here. The speaker enclosures I was talking about are gonna go here, and then we're gonna build some shelves to put Butterfingers maybe, and maybe some chips and stuff like that up here on either side for sale. We also need to come up with a way to ventilate this because this does need some air space behind it. We can't just push it against the wall. And we also need to put a drain tube on it so when we thaw this out, all the water and condensation goes out the bottom of the van. We've made a lot of progress in this video. There's going to be a lot more to come. A lot of the final finishing touches are coming, including our countertop, which will be pretty cool, which is where you'll be served should you come up and buy some ice cream. I think the best is yet to come for this van. All the finishing stuff is really what's going to make it unique. So stay tuned to the next video, guys. If you haven't already, head over to throtl.com. Pick up some merch, pick up the car parts you've been looking for your project car, and we'll see you in the next one.